When better than the first day of spring to spend a Sunday in the park with whomever? Not long ago, I asked three old friends, Mandy Patinkin, Bernadette Peters, and James Lapine, to help us look back at a Broadway classic.
There she is.
It began with a painting. George Seurat's 1886 pointillist masterpiece, A Sunday on Le Grand Jatte,
Composition
was the inspiration for 1984's groundbreaking Broadway musical, Sunday in the Park with George,
Collins,
which starred Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters.
In the big painting, my bustle was higher. Also, I put on a few pounds in the big painting.
And was co-written by James Lapine and the late Stephen Sondheim.
The monkey always remains the mystery.
Seurat's finished work, composed entirely of tiny painted dots, hangs in the Art Institute of Chicago.
That's just practice.
At New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, we visited a smaller study done by the artist 2 years earlier.
The idea that this would be a study, I mean, in and of itself, it's a great painting.
Back in 1982, Lapine was a graphic designer with experience only in experimental theater, who visited Sondheim, already a legend, with a postcard image of the painting.
We were sitting on the floor, and we probably had smoked a joint, and we were just staring at it, and then we started breaking it down.
Seurat himself died at 31, having never sold a major work, his own life something of a blank canvas.
red, orange, red, orange.
Into that void, Lapine and Sondheim imagined an artist struggling mightily to create, and the figure in the foreground as his mistress named, what else? Dot, a woman asking for more of Seurat than he can give.
No one is you, and no one can be, but no one is me, George. No one is me. We do not belong together, and we'll never belong.
Now Lapine, who also directed the show, has written a book, Putting It Together, about the making of the musical, beginning with the concept.
James came over to the house. He said, I know this is going to sound pretentious, but Steve and I sat down and we talked about making a work of art based on a work of art. I didn't think it was pretentious, but I thought, oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
No, I think you thought it was pretentious.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
But you apologized for the pretentious possibility before I...
After you said that's pretty pretentious.
Next came the casting.
I saw this lovely woman to my left, Bernadette Peters, in Pennies from Heaven, the film.
Love is good for anything that ails you.
I kind of fell in love with her.
Nothing love can do.
I also thought that she just looked like she was from the 19th century. Mandy, I thought, was terrific in the Avita commercial.
That's all they wanted, not much to ask for.
Patinkin had just won a Tony for his performance as a fiery revolutionary in Evita.
My magic sister.
You didn't see
Not
the
so
show?
much in the show.
I never saw the show.
You never saw the show?
Never saw the show.
Oh, that's
that.
hysterical.
I saw him in the commercial, and I said, yeah, he looks like...
So did
He
I.
looks intense, and he sings great, and he looks like George Seurat.
Not much to ask for.
The commercial was great. It really was a great commercial. The original off-Broadway cast also included future stars Brent Spiner, Christine Baranski, and Kelsey Grammer. But putting the show together was no walk in the park. Kelsey Grammer yelled at you. Tell me about that.
He yelled at me in front of the company. Apparently, I had no style in giving notes and was fairly blunt with people. But at that point, I really didn't have my people skills together. We were kind of kids putting on a show.
The pressure was even greater on Patinkin, whose part was still being written even as opening night approached.
The sun is blinding. All right, concentrate.
Eyes open, please.
Sunday in the park with George.
Look out at the water, not at me.
Sunday in the park with George.
You'd walked out at one point, stormed down the street.
I was terrified, and people were coming, and I just said, I don't know how to do this. I was just in a state of terror.
Lapine called Patinkin's wife, Catherine Grody, for advice.
She said, just tell Mandy you love him. And I just said to her, you got the wrong guy.
But he found his way to tell me he loved me. It became one of the, moments of my life.
But Bernadette Peters, who'd been appearing on New York stages since the age of 10, never panicked.
Steve and James, they're so specific. So I knew there were two great people at the helm, and I knew that the ship was going to go forward.
You could just tell that based on your experience.
Oh yes, because in other shows, there were people at the helm, but there were so many other people talking in their ears that they would get confused. But these two guys were so clear of where they were going with the show that I just felt secure.
Roof! Roof!
Still, the forecast for Sunday in the Park was bleak. The show's own stage crew nicknamed it Sunday in the Dark and Bored. Preview audiences were leaving in droves.
And a crackpot in the bow. Wow.
Isn't it true one of the producers at one point actually held the door?
Yeah, he finally got up and went to the door that people were walking out of and just held it open for people because it squeaked every time somebody walked out.
On the night critics were to see the show, the same day the final 2 songs were added, Lapine gathered the cast.
James stood at the foot of that stage, and we all got in that semicircle. And he spoke to us in a kind of clear yet see-through code, which was, believe in this. You've done this. You know this piece. Please, put away every doubt you have. Just forget about it. It was a kind of silent prayer in between his words.
Jeez. Was it like you were handing your baby over?
I have no recollection of this.
Heart.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
from
I
his
do.
heart.
Part of the wonder of the book was discovering these things that I really didn't remember,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth.
And we went out there like a team, and we honored his request.
The show won the Pulitzer Prize and has become a classic. Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine's Ode to the Art of Making Art. What's it like to read or sing a great piece of writing for the first time?
It's everything. When it's written so beautifully, especially Steve, it helps you express you. It gets what's inside of you out. And I think everybody would love to have what's inside of them come out and express themselves.